What is up, YouTube? So I decided I'd do a video on my 73 Mustang because I really haven't done too many videos on this recently. And an overview of everything I added and how I feel about it. So this is my 1973 Ford Mustang. Did quite a bit of work on this. I'll do my best to remember everything that I've done to this throughout the years. So this is a 302 Windsor. That distributor there is an HEI electronic ignition, so I added that on and I converted the system to 12 volts. Most of these have a resistor wire in there if you're still running the points ignition, so you got to convert it to 12 volts. Um, the plug wires came with the distributor. It's from A-Team. I also have heat boots on the plug wires where they go down into the motor. I have Flowtech headers, long tube headers on each side. Probably would not recommend getting long tube headers if you're going to lower the car, which I'll get into the suspension here in a little bit. Don't have a lot of ground clearance on it. Other than that, I put on a power steering pump. Unfortunately, the power steering pump, I had to run this bullet pulley. Did the alternator. I have a Holley 650 CFM double pumper, or 660, I think. Double pumper. I put the fuel gauge on there with all metal lines. I had an unfortunate freak accident with involved a fire a year and a half ago. Got very lucky that I didn't lose the whole car, so I ran all metal lines now. I have a Evil Performance oil catch can on there, running with a PCV valve, back to the intake manifold. It has a Holley intake on it. I rebuilt the heads, put new valves in them, lapped them in, all of that. So that pretty much takes care of what's done under the hood. Now, the suspension, I can't really show you because the car sits so damn low, as you can tell. This here is a QA1 coilover spring, single adjustable. So you can adjust the ride height with a spanner wrench to move the coil up and down, and then on the shock itself there's a adjustment knob. It goes from 0 to 16, 0 being a very plush ride, 16 being very stiff. I have it at 8. I found that that's my current application where it likes it. I put these tires on not long after I got the car. Tires are probably the weakest part. They're Cooper Cobras, so they're not really performance handling tires, so they're probably the weakest point. And I had Gabriel Hijacker air shocks in the back soon after I got the car. I put those on. I would like to get QA1 shocks, single adjustable shocks for the back as well. Up front, I believe from the factory it had a 3/4 inch sway bar. I added an 1.25 inch from Global West Suspension front sway bar. And then this did not have a rear sway bar. I added Global West Suspension 3/4 inch sway bar in the back as well. Underneath, can't remember the brand, Classic Chassis, I want to say, or Global West. It might be Global West too. Subframe connector. So basically it connects the front subframe to the rear subframe. Really stiffens the car. Out of everything that it did suspension wise to it, that I felt the most difference with. So you got a subframe connector for each side. There's many different kinds of subframe connectors. Mine's a tubular, which means it's round. I also have 1-inch drop leaf springs in the back as well. And then that pretty much rounds out the suspension. I put a new fuel tank in it, new fuel lines. I run a cooler thermostat, and I'll do the best to show you the interior, which is all redone for the most part. And I'm going to botch these seat names. These are Cobora. I'll just show you the name. Here's the name of the seats. These are obviously aftermarket seats. They're amazing. I love them very much. They make the ride very, very, very comfortable. I put new carpet in. Those are carpet inserts from CJ Pony Parts. I redid the dash. I put headliner in, and then I reupholstered the rear seats. So these are still the factory seats. I just reupholstered them. This I got through Classic Industries. These seats I got through CJ Pony Parts, and then I got this center console with cup holders, which are really good. And then I got this center bezel kit. I had to Dremel out to fit these Bosch gauges, because the factory Mustang gauges, they're egg shaped, believe it or not. So if you want to run aftermarket gauges, you're gonna have to get a Dremel and Dremel some of the plastic out. That is Classic Auto Sounds or Auto Sound. That looks like a factory radio. It's Bluetooth compatible and digital display and all that once it fires up. It's really good. Other than that, I have new door panels. I never got around to doing that because I'm planning on ripping the interior out eventually. I think I did talk about the carpet. I welded all new floor pans in because the floor was shot on this. I'm trying to think. Pretty sure that is it for that. And then one of the last things I did was I got Lumitronics Halo headlights. Do my best to show you them here. So as you can see without the light that I shined in there, it's a blue light with a blue accent halo light underneath. It actually makes driving the car at night a heck of a lot better. And they're plug and play. You just have to wire in the accent blue lighting yourself. Other than that, it plugs into the factory headlights on the Mustang. So those I would definitely suggest. My opinions on everything: the QA1 suspension is amazing. Almost all this stuff I got, actually all this stuff I either got through CJ Pony Parts or Classic Industries. They deal with a lot of Mustang stuff. As of recently, leaning towards Classic Industries. CJ Pony Parts those seats took forever to come. And then when they did come, they came without the seat brackets, which then it was like a many months waiting period to get the seats installed in this. But QA1 suspension is amazing on here. I mean, this thing really handles now. And like I said, I think once I put the QA1 shocks in the back and get better tires on this, it'll run a lot better. That power steering pump I got through CJ Pony Parts, the factory pulley will not fit on. You have to get that bullet pulley, will fit on. Now on the factory 302s, there's that spacer, probably like that big, that goes from the block or the head to the power steering pump. Well, that pulley was so offset with the fan pulley that you had to grind that down and fab it to work. So really hated doing that power steering pump. It was a pain in the butt to do, but mine was leaking. I got new high pressure line and return line as well while it was out. So that kind of gives you an overview of the my 73 Mustang. I got a 69 step side that's going to pretty much take priority over this as soon as I get a garage to put that in. Eventually, one of these fine motors here will go in this car. That is a 73. If you saw my earlier video, that's a 73 Cleveland, 351 Cleveland. And that is out of an 89 Ford truck. That is a 351 Windsor. So not sure which one I'm going to do yet. I go back and forth between. Clevelands are pretty cool. They make really good power. They're very rare motors. 351 Windsor, there's a bigger aftermarket support for those motors because they've been around for pretty much almost as long as the 350 small block for Chevy. So, yeah, so I just wanted to give you a general overview of 73 Mustang. I don't ever think I did many videos on what I had done to this thing. So, yeah, if you have a 73 Mustang or, classic Mustang, a lot of these parts are all the same or very similar between the early body styles somewhat. So Yeah, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment. Oh, one other thing I will say, I have a spacer on that. That's not a wood spacer, but a laminate like wood spacer. I did that because the heat transfer from the aluminum intake to the carburetor on hot summer days would make it really, really difficult to start hot. Once I put that spacer in, it did a really, really good job. Now that carburetor I got because I had plans of putting another motor in it. Now this is not going to be a no 1,000 horsepower machine. My goal is like 550, 600 to the crank. Don't need a crazy. This is a cruiser with a little bit of power and fun to it. I don't need all that power. So my plan was to eventually use this carburetor on my other application. So this is definitely overcarbed. I didn't mess with the timing a lot, and took it down to my buddy's shop and we got it dialed in, but it's pretty hot to make it run okay. But all in all, I really do enjoy this Holley carburetor. I had an Edelbrock on there before. The Edelbrock ran better. I gotta mess with the electronic choke on here because as it gets colder out, the choke doesn't want to release when it should. There's ways to adjust that. So that's my only complaint with the double pumper. So yeah, if you have any questions or want to ask me any questions on how I like any of the parts I ran on this thing or any problems that I had, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you. Till next time.